You have a side to you that just threw someone's world completely off balance, making them feel like the ground vanished beneath their feet while they struggled to regain their balance. They didn't see this coming from you at all. Not in the slightest. Not in a million years. You were moving through life right in front of them while they kept you neatly boxed up and labeled in their minds. But the moment you revealed who you really are, their entire perception of you shattered into pieces. You aren't the person they assumed you were. You possess far greater depth. Now they're left completely speechless, struggling to bridge the gap between their old idea of you and the powerful presence standing right in front of them that they simply can't ignore. You recognize that feeling, don't you? That moment when people have counted you out for so long that you almost started internalizing their doubts. Absolutely. That exact point where you used to be the quiet observer, blending into the background until someone needed something from you. Now suddenly all eyes are on you because you've accomplished something they never imagined you could do. That didn't happen by chance. It isn't just a lucky break. You know I don't buy into luck or randomness. It's simply what happens when you finally stop letting other people's expectations hold back your true potential. Here is how it all unfolded. Along the line, you convinced yourself that staying out of the spotlight kept you safe. Whether that lesson came early or late in life, you learned that keeping your thoughts guarded and remaining in the background protected you from getting hurt. It kept you off everyone's radar. It shielded you from carrying the heavy burden of outside expectations and opinions. So you intentionally constructed your whole life around staying hidden. You stepped into the role of the quiet watcher in the room, listening carefully instead of speaking and observing, rather than jumping in. Everyone around you became comfortable with that version of you. They built their entire understanding of your personality around that quiet surface. They drew their own conclusions. They filled in the gaps with their own limited ideas of who you were. Honestly, that arrangement worked out fine for a while. It felt secure. Yes, I know. It offered a sense of comfort. It made life feel manageable. You could navigate through daily routines smoothly without drawing unwanted attention. But the unspoken truth about staying comfortable is that it was never meant to be a permanent resting place. Life inevitably catches up with you. Eventually, a moment arrives that pulls you straight out of the shadows. Hardship lands directly at your doorstep. It has zero regard for your personal comfort levels. It doesn't care about the protective walls you carefully built around yourself. It tears those barriers down, regardless. Suddenly you're left with no choice but to step forward and reveal your true strength. That is precisely the phase you are in right now. Whatever challenges you've been navigating lately have been exceptionally intense. It's been a heavy load, the kind of crushing weight that usually breaks people under pressure. Yet you've continued to carry it forward. You've walked straight through the furnace, and instead of being consumed, you're coming out refined and stronger than you ever realized you could be. You're pushing through deep challenges that would make most people run away, and you're handling it with a quiet composure that leaves observers genuinely amazed. Look back at how they used to view you. They saw a quiet person who kept to themselves, someone who seemed delicate, uncertain, or in need of shielding. They assumed you lacked the toughness required to face real difficulty. They were only looking at the surface layer. They were seeing the filtered, guarded persona you presented simply because it felt safer and easier to navigate life that way. They formed their entire opinion based on that impression. They placed you in a box and defined what you could or couldn't accomplish. So when real trouble hit, they expected you to fall apart instantly. They figured you'd be searching for someone to rescue you. They fully anticipated that you'd fold under the strain. The most powerful part of this story is that you didn't break. That is exactly why they are so completely caught off guard right now. It isn't just the fact that you're handling the situation, but that you're doing so with remarkable grace, emotional depth, and composure they never knew you possessed. You aren't merely making it through. You are actively taking charge. You're demonstrating a level of strategic thinking and wisdom they never thought you had in you. You're noticing possibilities and angles that completely escape their view. You're handling complex problems so effortlessly that it almost looks magical to them, simply because they never realized how deeply you understood the situation all along. A powerful shift happens when you've been overlooked your entire life, and you suddenly do something that completely reshatters everyone's expectations. It's as if you've been speaking a silent language in your head, and then you suddenly speak out loud so clearly that no one can miss the message. You were never the limited person they imagined. You never were. What exactly are they noticing in you right now that has them so stunned? It comes down to how your mind works. It's the unique way you process everything around you. Your thought process operates on a whole different level. You spot subtle connections and trends that others overlook entirely. You pick up on details that pass right by most people. You link ideas together that don't seem related on the surface. When you finally open up and articulate what's going on in that sharp mind of yours, people are genuinely blown away. They can't figure out how your mind arrived at that conclusion. They can't trace the steps you took to reach such a profound realization. It feels like you're operating on a higher wavelength, drawing clarity from insights they haven't learned to access yet. You've likely experienced this exact reaction before. You've been in mid-conversation, offered a single thought, and watched the person across from you completely freeze. They stop in their tracks. They look at you in utter disbelief. But that shock doesn't come from you being mistaken. It happens because your point is so remarkably accurate and unexpected that it forces them to completely reevaluate their own perspective just to process what you said. They literally have to reshape their whole mindset to make room for the truth you just delivered. The reality is that this inner brilliance was never absent. It was inside you the entire time. You have always possessed this deep perception, intuition, and sharp intelligence. You were simply choosing not to display it openly. You kept your light hidden away beneath layers of insecurity, the hesitation of being judged, and the belief that staying small was safer. Recently, though, a pivotal change occurred inside you. Perhaps the hard times pushed you to step up. Maybe the sheer weight of circumstances demanded that you tap into strengths you hadn't used before. Whatever triggered it, the barrier came down, the gates opened, and all that bottled-up wisdom, capability, and vision finally broke free. It's out in the open now, and everyone around you is taking notice. Want to know what else is catching them completely off guard? It's your remarkable emotional depth and awareness. Your intelligence isn't just book-smart or abstract theory. You possess deep wisdom when it comes to human feelings. You truly understand how people work. You have an innate grasp of human nature that leaves people feeling like you can read their minds. You pick up on room dynamics so accurately that it actually startles people, because you sense what they're feeling long before they even voice it. That level of perception is intimidating to those who mistakenly thought you were just quiet or oblivious. Reflect on this for a second. Remember the last time someone was struggling through a hard moment, and you delivered the exact right words they needed to hear. You didn't even have to overthink it. The words just flowed out naturally, leaving the listener looking at you completely stunned, wondering, how did you know? How did you know those exact words were what my heart needed today? You couldn't even give them a simple explanation for it. It wasn't information you picked up from a textbook or a seminar. It came from deep intuition, gut feeling, and raw personal experience, because you've walked through your own trials and emerged with genuine empathy for what others suffer through. That is another quality they are recognizing in you now. You've endured challenges that would have completely broken most people. You've faced true hardship and emotional struggles that left invisible scars. Yet you didn't allow those experiences to make you bitter, broken, or cynical. Instead, you came through the trial with a rare depth of wisdom that only real-life experience can teach. You understand resilience in ways that people with easy lives simply cannot comprehend. When you share those insights with others, you're essentially providing them a guiding light through territory they felt lost in. They never viewed you as the person who would have all the answers. They never expected you to be the voice people looked to for direction and clarity. They certainly never anticipated seeing you in a leadership role. In their eyes, you were supposed to stay in the background, keeping quiet without strong opinions or direction. Now, beautiful soul, you've become the very person everyone turns to. You are the voice they actively seek out, because when you speak, your words carry real substance and depth. There is authentic strength behind what you say. Your presence commands respect and makes people stop to truly listen. How does it feel to be perceived in such a completely new light? To be recognized not as the hesitant, quiet individual they assumed you were, but as the capable, wise, and grounded person you've always been underneath. It feels a bit surreal, doesn't it? Part of you might still hold on to the instinct to stay hidden and avoid the spotlight. A piece of you still remembers the anxiety of being judged by others. Yet here you are, being observed anyway, but for entirely different and positive reasons. People aren't underestimating you anymore. They are looking up to your example, and that comes with its own distinct responsibility. But here is the beauty of stepping into the light. Once you reveal your genuine self, you can never go back to hiding. You can't undo the growth you've shown. They see the truth now. They've witnessed what you are truly capable of handling. They've watched your strength, your wisdom, and your incredible resilience firsthand. They feel the real impact of your presence, and now they are paying attention. They are watching closely. They're excited to see where your journey takes you next. You've created a whole new chapter for yourself simply by standing firmly in your authenticity. There's no going back to playing small or shrinking into the background. once you've shown everyone the true power you carry. Let's keep things grounded and realistic about what this all means. This isn't a magical fairy tale overnight fix. It isn't some effortless transformation where life suddenly becomes completely smooth. You are still very much yourself. You still face daily challenges and navigate the same personal realities as before. The shift is that the way the world views you has completely transformed, and that shift alters every interaction, because when people see you in a new light, they treat you accordingly. They begin holding higher expectations for you than they ever did in the past. They bring you their personal struggles, their big questions, and their doubts. They look toward you for genuine guidance. Now you get to decide how and when you choose to show up for them. There's another dynamic at play as well. Certain people, especially those accustomed to your old, quiet persona, are finding it difficult to adapt. They aren't sure how to interact with this evolved version of you. They were comfortable with the predictable, quiet role you used to play, and now that old dynamic no longer exists. The confident individual standing in front of them now feels unfamiliar to them. They're struggling to reconcile the timid person they remember with the strong, insightful person standing before them today. For some